acting titans Al Pacino and Robert De Niro finally face off in 1995's Heat. Is this the pairing that it's all cracked up to be? Stay with us to find out.
Get ready for the 3324 podcast, where lifelong friends Dean Legiro and Eric Kuber share their love of all things music and movies. Dean has directed short films and is a music trivia buff. And Eric, trained in audio engineering, brings his extensive knowledge of music and film to the conversation as they discuss, debate, and celebrate their favorite albums, films, and much more.
Welcome, friends, to the 3324 podcast. Thank you for joining us. As always, we start off humbly thanking you for listening, because otherwise it would just be the five of us that listen to this episode. So we thank listeners 6 and above for your participation. It always means a lot. We don't know what number you are, but we thank anybody above listener number 6. We appreciate this.
Should we dispense
this show's
numbers?
For you.
Should we spread them out or what? Can we give the numbers like a marathon or something or what?
Yeah, well, we don't know. I you know what? We'd have to have people go online and say, hey, I listened, and then we can assign a number. And Facebook, Twitter, it would be too much. So we're just going to thank everybody, no matter what number you are. Your number is important. And as always, Eric is here as well. How you doing?
I'm
buddy?
Good. Yeah, I'm very good. Yourself, sir?
I'm doing all right. All extremities are attached. My heart is beating. So, can't ask for much more than that at this point. So we've got some guests here. This is, again, the trio.
The usual suspects. Yeah, that's the perfect name.
The hat trick of guests that we have here.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the best dressed one, Sean Grady. How are you, Sean?
I don't know about that. I'm doing well. Happy to be here as always.
Thank you very much, Sean. You can follow him on Historical Drama on Facebook and Instagram. Great stuff that he does there. If you're into local history, especially in the New York, Westchester downstate area, check him out. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
Next up on the acting palette, second best dressed, Nick Leshy.
Thank you.
How are you, Nick?
Doing great. Wore my best jacket today because I know this is going to be a big debate. So
he's ready to go. He's dressed for Debate Club, or he's dressed as Neil McCauley. Nick, you also have a show that you're just in the middle of right now as well, right?
Yeah, it's at the Bartopel Mansion and Museum. It's actually called Monster. It's the making of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So it's a really great show. Immersive theater. We take the audience from room to room. It's been really fun. This is our final weekend, but check it out when you go to the website because they have other performances coming up for other shows.
What's the website?
I will email that to you because I don't have it off the top of my head. But if you just look up Bartopel Mansion in the Bronx, you'll find it.
Got it. You know what we'll do is we'll put links in the show notes to Historical Drama on Facebook and also to the Bartopel Mansion as well. So you can find out some great, fantastic local artistry and entertainment. And fall is upon us, and that's really a great time to enjoy this kind of stuff as well. There's nothing like autumn in the Northeast. Is that a fair assessment? Christy Cuomo, our third guest. Is that fair? Fall in the Northeast? Nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Cool.
That was so convincing.
I'm not a big pumpkin spice person, so I'm not going to jump on that. It's just
all right.
Can be done with
we were going to do a top 5 pumpkin spice types of foods, but I guess you're not going to be involved in that one.
No, I don't think there's anything anywhere more beautiful than fall in New York State, hands down. Maybe Maine. I don't know. I've never been to Maine, so I don't know. But
the further north you drive, like Connecticut's very pretty. There's this time of year the foliage and the Northeast just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to be. We've got 3 beautiful people and 2 kind of sketchy people as well here. I'm speaking for Eric.
You didn't actually introduce me though.
I did. I said Christy Cuomo. How are you? And I asked about fall.
Welcome, Christy.
Did he introduce me?
Yes. Welcome. He did.
Yes.
He mentioned you.
He mentioned me. All right.
Yes. There was about 3 feet of red carpet left to roll out for you, and we rolled it out.
He asked you if the Northeast is the most beautiful.
Yeah,
and that's how we
started, and then you responded. So that infers that you acknowledged that you were introduced. So that's how it works on podcasts. I introduce people, they say something, witty banter, we toss it back and forth, and we move on. And we are moving on with this. Let's see. We have to lay a little thing out here. We've been trying to get this episode done for a while. We've been wanting to do Heat kind of putting it out there, and I don't know if I forgot about what responses I got, and then I kind of asked again and kind of put it out there. I know I put it out there multiple times, and it's just one that we've been wanting to get to. And there's like a list of people, kind of send it out and people respond. And Nick was kind of like, yeah, if I'll do, I'll be on the episode if you want me to, because I'm not really a big fan of it. And I was like, absolutely. Like, what? Like, why not? There's always a sacrificial lamb that we need every so often to offer up to the podcast gods.
Okay.
That we can
no pressure whatsoever.
No. So Nick is going to play sport. Nick is, if you want to put it in this perspective, Nick is like Henry Fonda in 12 Angry Men. And I'm like Lee J. Cobb in 12 Angry Men. Nick is going to try and sway the jury and get each one over to him. See, and I already have the jury.
My goal is not to sway. My goal is just to share the truth. And you all whether you accept the truth or not, I don't know. No, but I know I'm in the minority for sure, because like I would say like 95% of the people I know or that I bumped into, and definitely all over the web, they think this movie's a classic. This is a masterpiece. I just think it's overrated. I wouldn't call it a bad movie for sure, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Thanks for being on. We appreciate it. You said everything you need. You said everything you needed to say. I think you were quite succinct. So thanks a lot for stopping in. And we're going to continue with the rest of the episode. All right, let's get cracking on this. Let's open it up a little bit more. But that's you know what, and we appreciate that though. Not everybody likes everything or feels the same way about stuff, and that doesn't mean we can't still celebrate and have a great discussion, which I'm looking forward to as well.
That's what movies are all about.
Right? Yeah, and that's the beauty. So let's get cracking on this. Why don't we say that? This was released in December of 1995, written and directed by Michael Mann, a $60 million budget. Nice. Big chunk of change, because you got some, we'll go into the cast, but geez, $187 million box office. So that's a really nice return on that. That's kind of, good, bad, or indifferent. The film, it made money. People definitely went out to see this film as on an epic scale. Let's get into the cast a little bit, and everybody can kind of throw in, some moans and groans or hurrahs. Of course, you got Al Pacino as Vincent Hanna, Robert De Niro as Neil McCauley. Now, this is the pairing that everybody's been waiting for their whole lives. Yes, caveat. They were in the same film in Godfather 2, but they never shared any scenes because of time shifting and all that.
Dean, how did you know that?
What's that?
How do you know that?
Because I read it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't say I saw it, but I read it.
That's right. You didn't see Godfather or Godfather 2, did you?
No, he didn't.
Wow. He's outed.
No.
Wow.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean.
Oh, man.
We're going to watch it.
Look at the look of disgust on Sean's face.
Is that true? Is that for real?
That's a fact.
The look of disgust on Sean's face was palpable.
Sean's going to leave now.
As much a few months ago.
Dean's going to be the only one left on the podcast after this one.
Oof. You're
I've never seen him in their entirety.
Yeah.
I just actually watched all three because after I watched The Offer, I had to rewatch everything.
I saw Godfather 4.
4?
Is that the one where the Godfather 4? Yeah, doesn't he fight in space? Doesn't he fight like Jason in space or something? Godfather.
Right. You're insulting.
I think that was called The Freshman, right? Wasn't that called The Freshman?
Yeah, I saw The Freshman. I see The Freshman.
There you go.
Which is a great film.
That could have been Godfather 4 for sure.
Spiritual sequel to that.
Yeah, he saw The Freshman, but not The Godfather.
Not The Godfather. You got Val Kilmer as Christian Hurlis. We're not going to go through each character name. You got John Voight.
Yeah.
Tom Sizemore. Diane Venora, the first of the leading ladies in this film. Amy Brenneman. You got Ashley Judd as well. Michael T. Williamson, great character actor. Wes Studi, who had just made an appearance in The Last of the Mohicans, which was Michael Mann's previous. Oh, great film. Ted Levine, you'll recognize him. Dennis Haysbert. William Fichtner, one of our favorite character actors as well. Natalie Portman in a younger role before she would be Padme Amidala. The great Tom Noonan, who was also in Manhunter, which was another Michael Mann film. Kevin Gage as Wangro. Hank Azaria, Danny Trejo, Henry Rollins, Tone Loc.
Yeah.
Jeremy Piven before he went to Entourage and got his hair done. and Xander Berkeley.
Now you know where the budget went.
It went to
That's pretty much
people.
where the money went.
And where it went to also is location shooting, because there was no sound stages used in the filming of this movie. Everything was filmed somewhere, which is really kind of, I think that's what gives the film its identity. Honestly, is that it's, you feel LA, you know, in Neil McCauley's apartment overlooking LA, and those night scenes and just the hustle and bustle of things. You know, LA is as much a character in this film, I think. Sean, what do you think? You just watched this. Now, you haven't seen this that much, right? You said you'd seen it maybe once or twice early on and then caught it again.
I saw it once, I guess when it came out. I remember seeing it in the theater. And I will say this, I probably felt like there was a lot of hype. And when I revisited it, which was the first time the other night, I didn't remember a thing.
Really?
Nothing. I didn't. Wow. But I was engaged. I started this movie at midnight. Okay, at midnight.
Wow, oh, man, I feel
I was like, I said I'll watch half of it, and I'll watch the next half next morning. I watched the whole thing.
And was it 2:15? It's 2 hours and 15, right? Something like that.
No, it's 3 hours. It's like 3 hours.
250. Yeah, it's not 250. It's
long.
50.
It is
super long.
Well, that's
2 hours 50 minutes.
It goes quick.
170 minutes.
Nick, no talking. Sean's talking.
It's a 3-hour movie that feels like it's 5 hours long, dude.
It was. I'm not saying it's not long. It was long. But I have to say, it kept my interest, and plus, I'm watching for the purposes of the show.
Yeah.
So I'm staying with this, but it wasn't a labor. I enjoyed it, and I think after I watched it and I reflected on the next day, I had more of an appreciation for the film. I definitely it's amazing when I saw no soundstage and what they were able to accomplish, and just the gunplay. Was I thought that Val Kilmer with the weapon, like he looked like he was born to fire that weapon. I read a lot about his training, so I do have an appreciation for it. It's a tough, like a 3-hour movie for me is a tough revisit sometimes.
Yeah,
but I have to say I probably again after our discussion I'll probably revisit.
Cool.
I think I have more of an appreciation than I did when I saw it the first time.
So Nick, let me bounce it over to you. Do you think that it would be more impactful to you if it was a shorter film? Because it seems like the length for you also seems to be a bugaboo.
No, I've seen long movies where I'm like, I could have been cut a half hour here or there, like Dark Knight, things like that. But still a great movie, But for this, the length was just part of it. As I was rewatching it now, because the last time I saw it was in the movie theaters when it first came out, and I walked out of it thinking, okay, it's just another movie. There were moments I enjoyed of it, but I could see the plot holes that I didn't like, and Al Pacino's overacting. I'm sorry. This is like that's like, I love Al Pacino. He's one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh, the disdain on Christy's face right now.
He was doing a totally different movie than every other character in this film.
There's a reason for it. So because
hold on.
Yeah, I believe him. I believe Al Pacino. Okay.
He said.
Yeah, I know what he said.
Hang on.
When he finally saw the movie at the screening, probably with everybody else, he's like, "Holy crap! I was doing a totally different movie than everybody else." So he starts walking around saying, "Yeah, I played it like he was on cocaine throughout the whole movie." Dude, he was just every cliche that people have come to know about Al Pacino is in that performance. Well, he's a great actor. I love him. It's a great role, but he is wrong.
I don't think he's doing a parody of himself in that.
He totally is. Almost every scene, he has to do a yell. He has to do a scream.
It could
takes
be
you out of the movie.
It could be. It could be. I've got an observation that I picked up today watching that, because that's a lot of people make that, right? It's very easy to, if you want to do some Al Pacino impressions, you can watch this and you watch Scent of a Woman and you've got like enough material there. But what I did notice, to Nick's point about the overacting and the yelling, there's actually a little bit finer detail in there, because what I did notice is that when he did the overacting, kind of the big performances, it was always with criminals. Okay, it was always with people. When he went to the club, when he talked to the confidential informants, when he would talk to people that he didn't have respect for, he was almost a different character. But when you see he's at the crime scene dealing with the dead bodies and stuff. He is sedate when he's talking about the robbery. They used a shape charge. They did this. I think it's almost like he's a separate person, or he's a different character when he's dealing with like, the criminal element. He's got to be bigger and broader, because when he's and like, he was never like that with De Niro because he's got respect for him. He's never like that with his team because he's got respect for his team.
That's a good point.
I really did, and I didn't really pick up on it until today when I was watching. I'm like, because I was watching that, I'm like, because we all love those scenes, like give me all you got, and he's got a great ass, but there are always scenes when he is trying to intimidate someone with a criminal element to them, but when he's with his team, he's not really like that as much.
Dean, I might have to
to your point, Dean, he says that he's got to be on the edge. He's got to be what he's chasing. So when he's doing
he explains
that,
it.
he's over. So there's one scene in particular when he comes home and his wife's like, "Where were you?" And he's like, he's like, "I'm sorry if the goddamn chicken got." And he pauses, and it's not overly dramatic. He's like overcooked, and he's just exhausted, and he's so underacting. And so I agree with you.
3 dead bodies on the street, Nadine.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Justine.
The goddamn chicken.
It almost seems like he forgot his line.
No, but he's so stressed. Yeah. He's so stressed. So, Dean, I think you nailed it. Is when he's with the criminals is when he's being boisterous and he's being loud and so Nick, you're wrong.
He's got to be intimidating.
One for us.
Listen,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I'll give you a point.
These are his opinions. They're not wrong.
That is a great point because Christy, to your point, that scene that you mentioned just now, that does stick out in my head because I was like, I loved his performance with that one because it was underplayed, and I was like, wow, that's a moment where he could have been over the top the way it was written. Yeah. And he really underplayed it, and it worked so well.
Yes, even with Natalie Portman, he doesn't overplay the scene when he finds her in the bathtub. He could have went above and been like very dramatic with that, and he's not.
But if people that doesn't have respect for it, because you saw when he finds Justine and Ralph, he yells at Ralph that way too, like sit down, like when he's going to get up.
But it's for people that he doesn't have respect for, and it's like if he is doing it intentionally, then it's like. Is he doing it to intimidate the criminals and the bad element? Or is he making them laugh at him? Because I'm like, if anybody says that to me, I'd laugh in their face. It was
to make them think that he's crazy, that he's a little crazy. Like we don't know what this guy's. He starts singing, he starts doing whatever.
I'm gonna watch it again and just keep that in
mind. Sean, what did you think? Does that make sense? Because Pacino he was coming off of Scent of a Woman, and he was coming off being the guy that you do the impression of like that. I'm gonna take a flamethrower to this place. And then he comes out with this film that kind of has those underpinnings to it, but there was this whole other, like I said, there was this whole other aspect to it of as far swinging the pendulum one way, it swings the other way to him being very docile as well.
I think you made an excellent point because having just seen it and it's fresh in my mind. You're right. The over the top Al Pacino is. There's selective moments, but because there are many, you
think that's
that kind of resonates. But like Christy, you were saying you were watching The Offer, and the guy who plays Pacino in The Offer, the young Pacino, is amazing. But that Pacino doesn't exist anymore. I know he was younger, but But those early Pacino days, like he was a totally different actor. So
but that Pacino disappeared in. He probably. I guess.
Author.
Scent of I think we all kind of pinpoint Scent of a Woman when he started becoming a caricature.
Scarface.
Scarface when he started to become a caricature.
Which I think is also overrated. There we go.
That takes the top for me.
Revelations
not Scent of a Woman, but Scarface. I can't stand that film.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Scarface fan, but I bet Nick is.
I do like Scarface.
Yeah. No, but you make a really good point because
I don't get, Nick. I really don't get that.
Because when people look at Scarface, that's like meant to be over the top and campy and like this gangster.
Then it's okay.
Everybody calls Heat a masterpiece and like this amazing, and I just think it's overrated.
It's a masterpiece.
I think it's not a masterpiece.
It's amazing.
I think so. I mean, let's kind of circle. Let's kind of hit it from here. Then let's look at some of the films that came out in 1995, just real quick. and you'll see if it's a masterpiece or not. Heat versus Showgirls.
Heat, of course, yeah.
Okay. Heat versus Batman Forever, 2 Kilmer films.
Heat.
All right. Heat versus Casino.
Well,
I hate Casino, but I would pick Casino.
Jesus Christ.
I would probably pick Casino, and I'm not a big Casino guy, but I've seen that more, and that is long. That's long too, Nick.
Yeah, that's long too.
I actually think I like Heat over Casino.
Okay.
I like
Heat?
Casino.
So do I.
How about Heat versus Seven? That came out in '95.
Seven by a mile. Seven is a great movie. I would call Seven David Fincher's masterpiece.
Okay.
Sean, why do I have to pick Seven?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
What about Heat versus 12 Monkeys?
12 Monkeys, for sure.
I don't remember
12
Monkeys.
Monkeys.
I saw it. What about
How about
Braveheart?
one more from '95, and then we'll stop. Heat versus Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects. All the way.
What about Braveheart?
Braveheart,
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of great films.
That was the era where these epic films were still being made, right? Braveheart is an epic.
It's long.
I don't think
That's 3 hours, Nick.
I love Braveheart.
It's not just the length though. You know, it's like it's got,
That's what she said.
Wow.
I wasn't going there.
And there it goes. 20 minutes in. 20 minutes in.
But at least it was me.
No, but 95 was still that era, right? Braveheart is an epic film. I don't think you can say that the scope of Heat is not epic. Maybe not it's not one of those like Lawrence of Arabia or where it goes over like someone's whole life where it's this big epic in that sense. It's epic in its scale and what it's trying and the story that it's telling. It is really, I'm going to say, brilliantly weaving major characters and minor characters, their story, and some of these minor characters don't get, like Dennis Haysbert does not get a lot of story time.
Great,
immediately he's an ex-con. He's struggling. He's trying to go straight. He's got the support of his girlfriend or wife, and he's like you're getting so much in small character bites, and all of these characters you don't know when you're watching the film why are they telling us his story and then they drop him for a while. Why is Wayne Grow so important? And then at the end, all of this stuff just collides at the end. So this could have easily been a movie. You're right, Nick. This could have been an Al Pacino movie about him trying to find these guys doing a heist and cut a lot of that out. Or it could have been a film about Robert De Niro doing a heist and cutting all that other stuff out. And those could have been two decent 2-hour movies. What you got instead was Michael Mann just weaving in all of these other stories, taking his time with it, getting to know the characters, and then everything at the end just collides. Eric, is that what do you think? Is that kind of
absolutely
in the ballpark?
It's 20 years of research. The guy is a criminal. He's a criminal. He's obsessive about crime, and all his films were like that. What's remarkable about it is like this: if this were made today, it would be a series. There's no doubt about it. It would be an HBO thing, 12 episodes long, maybe even another season. I have no doubt that this movie was an inspiration for things like The Wire and shows of that ilk. So the fact that he could tell this story in 2 hours and 50 minutes, and like you say, Dean, with all those characters, it's brilliant. I mean, it's a brilliant piece of writing. Yes, there are moments in the film that I have issue with, but for overall, I think it's really, really well told.
We'll get to the nitpicky stuff at the end, and we will get to all that. I'm sure we all have our nitpicks. Christy, do you think this is the last great film that Pacino and De Niro did separately? Not together because they did Righteous Kill after this. But do you think was this their swan? Was this the end of an era for them?
It's funny. I looked at Pacino's IMDb, and he didn't do that much after this that is so noteworthy. Again, because I think he started to really become that caricature of himself. De Niro, because De Niro started veering in the 2000s into like Meet the Parents and stuff like that. So this probably for both of them was the end of them being these type of character actors as we know it. Mm-hmm. I would say, and that's also it. It's also somewhat makes this movie sentimental in that way, because when you look at it and you've watched Pacino and De Niro, even from like what Sean said, like this young Pacino where he has a completely different voice. Like he wasn't drinking scotch yet and smoking cigarettes, and he's he's timid.
More of like a nerdy. He had like more of a nerdy voice.
It was all a little nasally. He's timid and stuff. And then as we've watched him grow into the actor he became, and the same thing with De Niro. Look at De Niro, like in Mean Streets, he's 110 pounds soaking wet, and
He's such a punk in that movie.
he's awkward. And then we get to this point, there's some sentimentality about it, especially after coming from The Godfather Part 2. So yeah, I think this was it for them, and for this way of acting for them.
Christy, it's interesting. When I put the movie on and I saw the way they looked, I'm like, this is how I think of these guys.
Yeah.
Like that look, that
frozen
age,
in time
about that. And it was like shock. It took me a while to get used to seeing them that young, and they're not that young in the movie.
They're in their 50s. That's young.
I know, but now they're like Pacino's 82, De Niro's 79. They're like pushing, and it's like, but that's how I think of those guys.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably the last movie where you get that look.
Yeah. So again, it's the sentimentality of it, right, Sean? It's just like, that's them for me.
Nick, you think this was them in their prime? This was it?
I think that was the moment for them to come together for sure. And that's how they hyped it up for the movie, and I'll be honest, I think De Niro's performance is one of his best, and he's had some great roles in his life. I think the way he performed it in this movie.
Well, and I think that's what's important too, though, Nick. Another great point you make is there's got to be a yin to the yang. If you've got Pacino as this over-the-top character, De Niro, if anything, is pulled way back. De Niro is usually a pretty low-key actor anyway. His portrayal of Neil McCauley is really pulled back. A man of few words, but of decisive action, like a master strategist. And again, he portrays this without a lot of. It's a lot of looks like that scene in when he goes to get coffee and Edie kind of mentions, like why are you interested in what I'm looking at and what I'm doing? Like he's already got, like very few words, but he gets across like that. He's already like guarded against people and. And I think that you needed that, if they both were going for it, then it would be a laugh fest, right? If both characters were just shouting at the table across each other, it wouldn't work. But if you've got the one up there, you need the one lower, and there's no two better actors to pit. There's no one better to put with Pacino in that mode than De Niro, who can kind of take that and not kind of bounce off of it and play into it, but accept it as that's the way the character is.
But do you think that big scene was really? I mean, it just, to me, that scene doesn't make sense. To me, that scene is made, and I know he had written it before.
It was real. That scene actually happened in real life. This movie is based on a series of events that happened in the 60s, and that police officer or detective did meet the real Neil McCauley.
They really went for coffee, yeah.
Right. But I'm just saying, like real life, it can be. It's like cinematic, is what I'm talking about. It's like the way the movie, and to me, like it just doesn't make sense. Like to me, it's like it played. Even when I saw it in the theater, I'm like, I don't know. I thought, okay, it's a setup maybe for the final scene, and I thought it would give us a bigger payoff at the end. But I don't know. To me, it just seemed contrived.
Does it not make sense because it's Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, or could it? If it were any other actors playing that scene,
because it was Pacino and De Niro, and that was
the hype was built
exactly for that
together.
Scene. Yeah, and I just felt like
I actually really like that scene.
Hype?
What's that?
I really like that scene. I think it's necessary in the film.
I thought it was
worth the hype though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because that seems to be like, this is the movie right here. The meeting, the meeting of them, like that. People made such a big production of that because it's the first time they're together in a scene.
And go ahead, Christy. I'm sorry.
I think even less of that. Forget about the hype. I think just if you're really immersed in the film, and you're these two characters coming together, and like Dean said, it's if you know the backstory, this really actually happened. It's based off of a true story. That it's just a really well done scene with two really good actors. Forget about the hype that they haven't been together since Godfather Part 2. But I think it says a lot about their characters in the film. Like, absolutely. I think it's important for that.
I just
Yeah,
don't see the
you're absolutely right.
motivation for the two characters to be together, and especially for De Niro's character to pretty much be like, "You're right. I'm the guy. I'm the
Yeah.
criminal."
Well,
And
here's
But they're the same
Yeah,
person.
here's-
They admit they're the
here's-
same person in that scene.
here's the
They are.
motivation though. What the motivation is that Al Pacino's character is so world weary and so beaten down by these run of the mill crimes that he finally runs into somebody that he not only respects but almost has like a hero worship for.
Yeah.
He is so impressed with how strategic he is, how he can't be caught. He's so slick. They get away with stuff like when they were going to do the jewel robbery, and he walked away because he heard the little guy hit the gun on the back. So he is so impressed with this guy that he has to. He's almost like Macaulay's enigmatic at this point. Like, I have to meet with this person. And De Niro, you said, why would he say this? Because he knows who he is. He knows, they've been playing cat and mouse, right? There was the scene when they went and met in the container yard, and then they came out, and so this way De Niro could get the pictures of him. So they
we've just
knew
been
the game
made.
they were playing. He's not ever going to deny. He didn't say that he did this or that. He just says, don't take down scores. Well, that's what I do best, So it really was cutting down to the nature of what they both are. Like Christy said, they're opposite sides of the same coin.
They're equal.
But for Pacino, it was hero worship. That's why he wanted to meet this. Like, he wanted to see what makes this guy tick because he's never met a criminal like this before. That
but Nate tells him that,
so well
Dean.
organized. Yeah.
Nate tells him that. John Voight's character says, he's impressed with you when he's talking to Macaulay.
Yeah.
He's like, this guy, his name's Vincent Hannon. He's impressed with you. It's like, okay.
I think that's what sets the scene up is he wants that, Pacino's character wants to have that conversation, like just to see what makes him tick. And yeah, De Niro was kind of, if you look at that scene when he pulls up, De Niro never looks at him when he's getting pulled over because he's not sure what's going to happen. He's like, do you want to have coffee? Yeah. De Niro doesn't answer for a while. There's like a good 4 or 5 seconds. And he's like, sure. He's like, okay, follow me. And then they go to the, so it's, and it just sets up this great two actors just in it's a low key scene and it's very revelatory. They talk about, the whole, what the dreams mean to each other, what their philosophy on life is basically the same exact thing. They're just coming at it from opposite ends. I don't think, I didn't care about that scene. Like when the movie was coming out, like, oh, this is the scene. For me, it's not even the centerpiece of the film. It's just a really important part of the Pacino character kind of dialing in to someone that he really kind of, because it ties up at the end when he holds his hand.
Yeah, I like that.
There didn't need to be this big thing at the end of talking and having a verbal battle. The reality is a cop is going to shoot somebody and a bad guy is going to shoot at somebody. That was, and they said that. But then at the end, when De Niro reaches his hand out and Pacino just grabs it, they were of the same. They were brother. They could have been like the same thing. We could have been brothers in another life type.
I like that last shot. But did you think that whole finale though was a little contrived too, and like a stereotype? Because having Pacino be the one that you have all these other officers, and he's going after him with the shotgun, and
because he's obsessed,
and he shoots him down.
Mm-hmm.
He's
obsessed. He's obsessed.
And executioner.
He's the hunter.
Cop, he becomes like De Niro. He's not.
He got to be the hunter, and he says as much in the movie.
But I thought it was great how, even though they are similar in many ways, they're two sides of the spectrum, right? Yeah. And I think that final scene was the payoff, and I was waiting for that. And I was waiting for it to be like, okay, and I don't think the payoff worked out. I like the final. It was a sad
ending. It was a sad ending. I mean, it was there was no way, Nick. I don't think there was any way to end it but that way. Like he couldn't get away.
And Hannah had to kill him.
Hannah couldn't get killed. He couldn't kill him and get away. Like. There was no other way for it to end. To kill him. Yeah, he's not going to go back to. He said, "I'm not going to go back to jail."
I mean, for the story and for the climax, that's what Michael Mann wanted, and it worked. And again, whatever reality was and everything, I don't know, man. The payoff didn't work for me.
Sean, what do you think?
Hand holding. I like the hand holding.
What do you think? Did the hand holding work for you?
I don't know. It was late when I watched that. So
Sean woke up and the credits were playing.
Yeah, no. I felt the end was, for some reason to me, felt a little bit like, all right, what happened? Like, is it going to happen? Is it going to, like, a lot of, I felt like it was very long, like, to get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I read that there was one ending was that they both kind of do like they both shoot and they both die. I don't know how I would have liked that.
Like a Reservoir Dogs type thing.
Yeah, kind of like a I think you had to have a winner and a loser, and I think that's what we had to have.
But
like,
who's the winner here and who's the loser though?
That's a good question.
When you consider, when you consider, which is why they bothered to tell all of these little side stories about their personal lives, and then you get to the point. Yeah, Vincent Hanna won the day, so to speak, but what does he have?
Right. At the end
in his life now, right?
Because
he's got nothing to go home to. He's lost. His obsession, his job became, so in a sense, he's lost out on a lot of things too.
But and it was that long shot at the end too. After he killed De Niro, there was just a long shot of Pacino's eyes.
Yeah.
Just kind of like
looking. He was looking off to the side.
Kind of like, he, it was bravado talk in the diner, like, oh, I don't want to have to put you down, but brother, you're going down. But now he actually did it. Almost like he had, like, this is the one criminal that he had sympathy for because he was so much like him, and it felt like such kindred spirits that when they hung that shot on him at the end, it was kind of like, now this is like half the fun or half the thing was the chase, right? Because he says that to Justine, all I am, or you said it best, all I am is what I'm chasing.
Right.
Right. And that's all he is he's consumed by the chase.
But once he kills De Niro, he's looking off to the side because it's what meaning does his life have now? He has to find someone else. And so
that's right.
So he is now dead as well. He's just living.
Yeah. So, existing. Yeah.
So, and so it's
everything. This is his life. And it's not a very attractive life. Look what it does to him, look what it does to his family. Look what it does to, almost like he's like putting Macaulay out of his misery too. Like, I think he wouldn't have, would he truly been happy with, with Edie? Who knows? I mean, that's one of the things that I didn't like about the film was I didn't buy that relationship whatsoever. One iota, that chemistry between him and her was just not there for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And I guess it's done on purpose because it wasn't meant to be a thing. So, but
that was another plot hole for me because here's a guy who that was his mantra that he learned from his mentor. It's like walk away, right? And he suddenly meets this girl and he's like willing to throw that all out the window. I like the payoff at the end. I thought that was a great scene when he comes out and he has that chance, but he, it's like nope,
walks
I'm gonna run away, and he knowing that probably he might get killed too. It's like, but he's not going back to the joint, right?
It was actually 30 seconds too when he made as he made the decision.
Was it really?
They said it's actually 30 seconds from when he sees Vincent Hanna, Edie, and makes the choice to run. It's all 30 seconds.
Sean, what were you going to say, Sean? I know you were trying to jump in.
That scene when they're all having dinner, his crew is having dinner, and everybody has somebody at the dinner, except for him. Yeah. And that's when he makes the call to eat. So I think a part of him might have felt like he was missing out on something, and that he does this job, the last one, like he could have probably walked away, but he just gets enticed back into it. But he was ready. I think there was a moment of like reflection of like maybe the barbecues and the picnics are the way to go. Even his crew members seem to have something other.
Well, they had choice. They both made choices, right? Yeah. I mean, he could have just left. He didn't have to go up there and kill Wayne.
When it rains, you get wet.
Well, you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like that certain something that he felt it needed to be done. I got to kill this guy. This is a son of a bitch. He's got to go.
There was a little foreshadowing.
There was a consequence there, to that. Yeah. And the decision for Vincent to kill Robert De Niro, he could have let him live.
He could have.
That's not who he is. It's just this is my job.
It's a choice between you and some poor bastard that you're going to make into a widow.
There's the impression.
There you go.
There we go,
brother. You are going down.
Sean, I think that scene, and I agree with you, shows he's not a machine. He's a man, Rocky IV. But he's reflective because he's planning on retiring. He's going to go to New Zealand. He's done. He has all his money. I mean, there's that like Eric said, he just can't let go of things. But he's sitting there and he's looking around at everyone, and everyone goes home to someone.
Yep.
Everyone has someone. He doesn't even have furniture.
Yeah,
No.
that's
When I
true.
get around to it.
You know?
When I get around to it. So let's talk a little bit about Waingro, because he's a very interesting character. And this whole movie actually, he is the tipping point on this whole movie. I don't know if you guys realize that if Waingro got killed in the beginning of this film, the rest of this film would not have existed.
That's right. That's one
And,
part of it.
and Nick
greatness
would have
of
been
it, yeah.
happy. It would have
And
been
Nick-
it would have been
because-
25 minutes
because-
long.
Because if Waingro got killed, Al Pacino still would have caught them on the heist. He still would have gotten the stuff about, Slick and all that. He would have had that information, but that's as far as their investigation would have went, because then Waingro got hooked up with Van Zandt and found out about the bank robbery. So the character of Waingro, is despicable and as disgusting and as horrifying as he is, this whole story pivots on that one scene that you think is a throwaway. You think, oh, they're going to kill this guy. They open the hood and it's got the garbage bags in it. You know what's happening. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And he gets away. And then the movie just kind of leaves him for a while and goes and does other things. And then Waingro's getting a beer and, I'm looking to do stuff. And they don't really, it's not like Waingro realizes what happened and the power he has to the story. That character just kind of continues he's killing prostitutes. He's doing whatever he's been doing. Us as the viewer only realize what his importance was, but the character doesn't within the film, which I think is brilliant. It's not like, oh, I have this information. He's just kind of going on his way. And then he does say it. He says it to Van Zandt. He says, Macaulay is never going to forget. He's going to come back. And he does. And that's the scene that Nick is talking about when they're driving and with Edie at the end, and he's about to go to the airport and he veers off, right? He actually smiles for a moment. Like when he's going through the bright lights of the tunnel, he smiles for a moment like, I got away with it. I got away. And then his frown turns into a frown and veers off to the thing is, oh yeah, I just got to take care of this one thing real quick. Cause he can't, it's
not going to let anybody,
it's his nature to leave loose ends. Like he's not,
it's not just that, but it's also his reputation's at stake here too. He's got that ego. He's got that reputation. Same thing with
He's obsessive.
Same thing with Pacino.
Just like Hannah. Yeah.
Just like Hannah.
Yeah, same thing.
Because they're the same person.
He's not going to let it go. So
that's why Hannah doesn't, he doesn't put up with mistakes. Like he's screaming at the team every time they messed up. And, he could have screamed at that one guy that with the gun in the trailer.
Oh, when he got out of the truck, it looked like he wanted to belt him.
Oh my God. He could have ripped his head off.
He did his Glenn Ross thing where he pulled his jacket back and he kind of put his hands on his hips. Like he was looking to deck the guy and he just kind of like, it's not even worth it.
But like we talked about though, the fact that that Macaulay knew enough to, and maybe there was a level of respect there. That's why he didn't go off on this guy. Cause it's like, okay, now I really know who I'm dealing with. Cause this guy, that one little thing caused him to walk away.
Yep.
This guy's big. This guy's, he's good.
You're going to walk and you're going to let him.
Yeah. I would say
there you go, Sean, that's too.
The Waingro mistake is at the very beginning for them just picking him for this job. And that's where I'm like, these guys are professionals. These guys have been doing this forever. They're a tight-knit group. You saw at the end when they needed another, driver for the car, they went to somebody they'd worked with before. So why would they pick this guy who's obviously a loose cannon and insane, right? To do this.
They didn't know.
That's the pivoting moment. Yeah. And then when they try to kill him, they start doing it in a diner in front of all these witnesses and out in the parking lot when cars are going away. Yeah. It's like, do a Godfather, put him in the trunk and take him out in the woods or something, and leave the cannoli. Right?
Pop him there.
Well, it was kind of like
the gun, leave the cannoli,
Goodfellas, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but it was kind of like Goodfellas. It's like they did walk out of the diner, and he was like, "Cut this guy loose, give him his money. Yeah, let's go out to the car, give him his money, and get rid of him."
But they were just going to pop him.
Right. I'm going to throw you a bone right now. So when they're a tight knit group and they work together all the time. And then Waingro comes to the truck, and Michael Tom Sizemore is like, "What's your name?" He puts his hand up and he's like, "Waingro," and he's like, "All right." That was all he needed to say as proof as who he was. Like
that's how it works in the criminal underworld.
It's just
like say your name.
Like, all right, maybe you could be a little.
Fun little fact about Waingro.
Do you have an application?
Don't need one.
Did you fill out your employee application?
As long as you can get in the truck. Fun fact about Waingro, Sean. I don't know if you know this, but Xander Berkeley, who played Ralph in this film, played Waingro in L.A. Takedown. He played the part of Waingro in the L.A. Takedown. Was the original it was going to be a series that Michael Mann was making. He wanted to pitch it to the network, and they said, nah, whatever. So they made it into a TV movie called LA Takedown, which Heat is basically a direct remake of. And Xander Berkeley was the terrifying Waingro. Although in the scenes that I just sent everybody a scene from that film. I'm not sure Waingro was as tough as he is as Kevin Gage is in this film.
You do know that Ted Levine was offered Waingro and turned it down.
Yes.
Because he didn't want to get pigeonholed because he was coming off Silence of the Lambs and was like, so he chose to be Bosco, but he was.
So he plays Bosco and he gets blasted by Val Kilmer.
He could have easily stepped off the Productionist movie and into Monk as Stottlemyre, because he's almost the same character. It's like, you know,
and then in 2003, Waingro went. The guy that played Waingro went to prison.
Yeah,
he's acting again, so I guess
he's no joke.
He's
no joke. Shakespeare in the prison.
He is a cowboy looking for anything heavy.
So, Sean, what do you think of this? Does this continue Val Kilmer's excellent streak of supporting? Does this make the case that he probably should have concentrated on supporting roles? We'll get to the elbow, Nick.
Thank you.
I like this performance in this. I think I found he was impressive, not too over the top. I think I loved it just was very cool with the, very, very, it seemed like that was a natural fit for him, the role, like his role in the heists, with the gun. And I found him pretty impressive and pretty solid performance.
Yeah, it was kind of like a mentor-scholar relationship the two of them had, like De Niro's character Macaulay was always kind of the caretaker of him, and like when they went to for the fake pickup from Van Zandt, it was Kilmer that was on the roof with the high power rifle, like picking. I mean, of course, Tom Sizemore got in there with the shotgun too and just like blasted that guy in the truck. But those two seem to have and when Kilmer got shot during that great the great shootout scene, De Niro went over and got him. He didn't just kind of leave. That's the thing is. You walk away, but he actually he kind of picked him up, and then later on brought him to the doctor. And then when he met with John Voight's character, where is he? So there was like a relationship that we don't know. Were they related? Yep. Was there something else? What was it? Did they
cared about him?
There was that kind of camaraderie that was different than what he had with Tom Sizemore's character Michael. He was kind of like Michael was more of a business associate. When they're talking about the heist, is like, well, Michael, you don't need this. You got bonds, you got real estate, you cut loose of this, but Kilmer's character was like, it's kind of like where you go, I go type of thing.
Yeah. And he's got the gambling problem, which is his Achilles heel.
Dean, while you're talking about Kilmer,
that's a motivator.
While you're talking about Kilmer and that shootout scene, I don't know if Sean knows this. They use that in training videos because Kilmer perfectly executes like loading and reloading a gun, where like that's how well they were trained when for those shootouts. And I think
scene was excellent.
Yeah, Kilmer's like he's like most proud of that of like anything.
Yeah, well, he's a method, and you know what? Christopher Nolan famously was inspired by this film for Dark Knight.
And, and Dark Knight was too long for Nick as well.
Yeah, his vision of Gotham, was based on this version of LA, which is, like I said, is its own character. So now, Nick, what about the elbow? What about the Kilmer elbow?
When I first saw this in the theater, I want to hear the story. So when I first went into the movie theater, I was so distracted by that lump on his elbow. Because the first time you really notice it, and it's just so, it's like he's kind of like beaten up a little bit. And I was like, maybe this is going to be part of like some exposition or something, but we kind of forget about it. That was it. But the rest of the movie, I'm thinking like, what the hell's up with his elbow? What happened to his elbow? Yeah. So
he had a tennis ball. He had a tennis ball implanted into his.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. I had no idea. What happened is during the filming of The Doors, the movie The Doors in 1991, he was doing a stage diving scene, and the stuntmen failed to catch him. Oh, and he broke his arm, and then he ended up getting a cyst on his elbow. And I think you see
okay.
it in other films as well. But
there's like one movie where he
it's-
wears like a elbow thing to kind of hide it and everything.
Yeah, mainly, that scene when he wakes up in Robert De Niro's apartment and he's walking around in the t-shirt and he's got this big giant like honking thing on his elbow. Yeah, it is distracting, but
and it's a little bruised around it too. So I just thought
when you first meet him in the film, you don't see it. It's not as prominent, But that scene, it's like, what the hell happened? Like, did he?
Yeah, nice guys, real nice.
Real life injury.
Hey man, it's
Cut the
things
guy
an
some
audience
slack.
notices.
I didn't notice.
That took you out.
It took me out the first time I saw it.
That's why he hates the movie, the elbow.
The elbow. Blame the elbow. But to give Kilmer credit, it was such an underperformed role, but like very intense. And then there's that scene when he's in the apartment when he flips out and throws.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an example of not overacting. That's an example of levels,
Yes.
as an actor. Kilmer got it right. Pacino in this movie did not.
No, that's not true. We
Wow.
already discussed Pacino's method here.
I'll have to revisit.
That's okay.
it,
He could still not be satisfied with it. That's perfectly fine. It like I said, you've got a movie that's stacked with actors, though. So
no, it's great.
If for no other reason, this is fun to watch. Just to pick out, and we have to talk about the female leads. We have to talk about Diane Venora. We got to talk about Ashley Judd. We've got to talk about Natalie Portman and Amy Brenneman. I mean, because they, each one of those is a different type of support, and even Natalie Portman is a different type of support. Al Pacino gets two types. He gets Diana Venora and he gets Natalie Portman. And it's very interesting those dynamics, especially at the end, it's not tragic, but when Natalie Portman goes to his hotel, cause he had moved out, and she goes to attempt to kill herself and
that's not tragic.
Yeah,
it's tragic, but she didn't die. Meaning it's tragic, but
and I think,
and she's like, she chose her mother's like, she chose you.
Yeah,
but
she chose you.
Because despite all of this running around, him chasing these guys,
he loved it. He always asked about her. He always cared about her. He always said, "Where's your father?"
He's there for her. Where's the father? Where is this bastard? He's he's not here for her. And I love the scene where he's driving in the car and then he sees her sitting there waiting for her father once again, who doesn't show up, and the car spins around and he picks her up. That's a great scene too.
Yeah, or was she trying to? Or was she trying to run away? Because he's like, "What are you doing here?" She goes, "Oh, I just wanted to be by myself." And like, she had a backpack.
Yeah,
I was thinking maybe she was obviously very troubled. I was thinking maybe she was trying to run away too. And he just happened. He kind of caught her, and she jumps in the car. She's like, "Hey, Mike," like,
which is probably why she decided to make an attempt on her life in his apartment, in his hotel room, because then he'd probably find her and stop it.
She clearly has like anxiety
so it was a cry
issues.
For help that and
she's probably bibipolar. I would guess, in the very beginning when she's looking for her berets or barrettes or whatever, I have to have them. She's like, I don't know why she's that way, but let's talk about Diane Verona. I mean, she's a good actress too. She's got that intensity. I liked her in Bird, Clint Eastwood's Bird. She played Chan Parker. Charlie Parker's wife, so she gave a really good performance there. I liked her in this film too. I thought she was real, very effective. Like it wasn't overblown. It wasn't, she gets a little bit dramatic at times, but that drama felt real to me. It's like, she
doesn't buy his bullshit. She's not buying the bullshit that he's selling.
Yeah.
You do it. Remember when you hooked up with me, baby, you're gonna have to share me with all the bad guys. And she says, "Yeah, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. Like you were going to be this absent, when we hooked up, baby." So she's just a great foil for him. She's doing drugs, she's taking whatever pills and whatever, and it's just kind of like he's like whatever. They're just kind of She realized she's the most insightful to him. That you're a dead person kind of going through life, and the only thing is these dead people, and you kind of sift through and you hunt, and that's all there is, and everything else we're just left in the wake of it. Some really brilliant stuff there.
I was recalling Miami Vice, the pilot episode where his ex-wife Crockett comes home. His partner had just been killed, Jimmy Smits. He got blown up, so he goes his son's birthday party, and he's late and he's drunk, and Crockett's sitting there, and she gives it to him later on, like the same thing, like you're masquerading. You're acting like one of these players that you're running around with. It's insane. Like, what are you doing? It's like you're losing yourself. And I think that's Hannah. That's most certainly Hannah. So it adds So I totally agree with Dean in the sense where that's the reason for that bravado and that intensity in those scenes, because you see how tender he can be with family and such, but
he's on stage
the other hand,
when he's with the bad guys, he's got to be.
But this is the life. This is the adrenaline. This is the rush. And Michael Mann said it himself, said as much in the research. He's like, he's dealt with real cops who do this on the street every day. And there is that real sense of
dual personality.
Of power. And like, once you're in the zone and you're chasing somebody down or whatever it may be, that rush is real. It's, so I buy it. I totally buy it.
Cool. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Ashley Judd. Before we started recording, I mentioned Ashley Judd, and there was some shots taken at Ashley Judd.
They were not shots.
I don't know what they were.
They were not
what
shots.
Was it? Well, Eric first.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. So what was it, Eric? What bothered you about that?
I don't know. I don't know if it bothered me, but it was just so unexpected.
Stands out.
And what it really does for me, I guess, in a way, it just recalls like classic Hollywood. It's like one of those old like gangster movies of the period. I think he's playing a little, Michael Mann's doing a little bit of that as well, taking some creative license there. And hey, let's make that a little, beef that up a little bit, and let's make it more like that rapid fire, like the girl, the women in those films back in the day, like the noir films and the gangster films. And so that's what I'm thinking when I see that scene. But it is a little off-putting. She's like, I'm sick of it. Like it's just so, because she's so laid back most of the time. Like she's the voice of reason for Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, like you need to straighten up. She's basically Diana Verona for him. Like, she's, trying to get him to grow up and what do you, and yet she's fooling around with Hank Azaria. And it's just kind of like,
Mo from the Simpsons.
She could, if you notice, like she's a completely different person. Her hair's different in the scene. It's curly. It's like she's trying to get out of that, mode, I guess, or just be somebody else. And again, it's another mask that's being worn. I think a lot of the characters are, wearing masks in this film. There's a lot of that going on, in the life and,
Well, everyone but Edie is. Edie's the only honest. Edie's the only honest adult you have in this film.
Amy Brenneman did not want to do the film. When she read the script, she hated it. She was just like, I don't.
She
like
said there's no redeeming characters except, but that was the only one, and that's why Michael Mann was like, that's why you should do it.
Yes.
But Dean, I actually like Ashley Juddness. It's just that scene stands out.
I do too,
and I think her character is very similar to Kilmer's character. I think I don't know if she's his voice of reason, because she almost seems childlike to me. She's taking care of Dominic, but she knows what he does. She's not in the dark about it, and it just, I don't know. It seems like I don't know. She feels, it's not like Justine, who is an adult. She's a woman, and she knows who Pacino is. I don't think Ashley Judd's character is there with Kilmer, but
she knows what he does and how it can help them.
But it almost feels like she just also needs to be taken care of. Like I don't we always talk about having these women in these films who are strong lead actresses that hold their own in it, and she holds her own in the film. I'm not saying that, but you look at someone like Justine, and Justine's a strong character. Like she could be she's not reliant on him. No, she's going to go out and screw who she wants to screw if you're not going to come around, and I'm going to make him breakfast. Let him watch your TV.
You don't get to watch my television set.
No, that was a bad one. But
it was a bad one.
But even Ashley Judd, though, like, look, consider the ending when she knew exactly the tell. She knew exactly what to do there. So obviously signal. She knows the life. She understands that, she knows
this is John Peterson.
Yeah, she knows exactly.
Now that's a nitpick. Right?
Because they picked the name John Peterson?
No. Here's a nip. Nick, I'm going to throw you a bone.
This was going to be one of mine, Dean. Go ahead.
Here's my nitpick. Sean, let me know if this is yours as well. This guy's wanted. He's got a jacket. They've got a photo of him. the cop down the street doesn't know who he's looking for because he gives an ID that says John Peterson. Like, this guy's name is Peterson. Okay, let him go.
He cut his hair.
Okay, but he's still Val Kilmer. Like, he's still like they don't do. You never saw that on the news when they had different. Like, he may have changed changed his look, and they show him with different things. That he just like kind of drove away. I'm kind of like, that's the only throwaway part of it is if the cops are stopping somebody down at the end of the road, they have to know who this guy, because he has a different ID. Oh, this can't be him.
It's one of the
him. It's not him.
This is John Peterson.
Was that a hole or was that something? Did you notice that, Sean?
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit like
weird.
How did they? Well, I think it just. I think that happens in films,
and that's what I was thinking too. Is a lot of the stuff that you see in this film is like, how do they get away? Like, how could Robert De Niro walk like a criminal, walk into and get a security guard jacket and do this and that? They just do it. Like, a lot of people aren't paying attention.
Well, that's right. The ambulance. He steals the ambulance, and then they use it the next day. The ambulance is gone for how long before anybody?
I think he said. The truck was the big green truck was like 2 weeks. And then I think the ambulance was like a couple of days ago. It was like, the ambulance was like 3 days ago, whatever. So
someone's not doing a good job tracking things.
Well,
but people don't. People don't pay attention though.
But it happens. Yeah.
It I think everybody's paying attention.
Yeah. So it's so matter of factly. So that was the thing I was thinking. I'm like, this could just be a cop that, just like looked at it. It's John Peterson. We ran his stuff. He's good. It can't be him. We don't want to arrest, whatever.
Wasn't John Peterson one of the producers for Batman?
I don't know.
John Peters.
John Peters.
John Peters. All right.
Nick, did I throw you one?
I kind of knew that. It was one of many plot holes in the movie. But,
give us another. Give us another.
Wow. No, we got to go down to women. We're not done with the women.
All right, I'll talk about the women then, because I think a lot of them are just, to Eric's point, they're like these types from like the noir time. Like the women are just there as foils for the men. And listen, I'll throw you guys a bone because I think the female actors are spectacular. I love all of them. But like, Amy Brenneman's role, she's like, I hate the trope of them like just like love at first sight, and suddenly he's willing to like throw away his life and everything he worked for, and she's willing to run away with this person who's old enough to be her father. And then she finds out that he's her reaction when she finds out that he's in a life of crime was brilliant. She's like almost like comatose, like get me out of here. What are you going to keep me as a slave? What's going on? And then she's willing to run away with him.
Yeah, I'm like, can I?
To me, that's
love.
She's like, do I?
Love.
She's like,
well,
it was the cliche.
She's like, do I have to give you my answer now?
Because he expressed the loneliness. That's what sold it.
Yeah,
he expressed that.
He says, "I'm alone, but I'm not lonely."
But I'm not lonely.
Obviously, he is lonely.
Bullshit.
Obviously, he is lonely, right?
Nick, I'm going to throw you another bone. So in the diner scene, when they're sitting there and they're talking, and she's like looks at his book, and she's like, "What do you do?" And she's asking all these questions. He's like, "Hey, lady, why are you so interested in what I do for a living?" And then she's like, "Oh, sorry, I work at the bookstore," and and then he feels bad, and then he immediately like De Niro's like. He flips like this. He sits next to her. He starts asking her all these questions. All of a sudden, they're going to go back to his house. They go to bed, and he does the same thing with Nate when Nate's talking to him about
Nate?
With John Voight's character. He's talking to him about something, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not interested." And then he tells him how much it is. He goes, "All right."
Oh yeah, 9 a.m. 9 a.m.
Like it's like De Niro's like really like headstrong on something, and then like it's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, change.
So there's.
I think with that scene though, like at first he's like suspicious, like, "Why are you talking to me? What's going on?"
Yeah.
And then he sees, she's attractive, she's flirting with me. Okay, so he I could see him wanting like a one night stand, whatever. But it's like how quickly then he falls in love with her and is like, "I'm willing to spend the rest of my life."
It wasn't just one night for him either.
Yeah, but the character,
I don't think so either. Yeah.
But Nick, his character could be so sharp that he would be able to pick out if she was fake or if she was like a cop, like. Like because that's it. What it's like Chrissy said. Why are you interested in what I do and what I read or whatever? And then he kind of like pondered it for a second. You're right, and he's kind of okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. My name is Neil. Like his guard is always up, right? If somebody wants something from him, they must be an angle, or he's got to be suspicious about it. He's got to be on his hackles all the time. just as a matter of his profession, right? He can't let his guard down, but then when he feels safe, then he allows himself to, but he can't just walk around like that, being like, hey, how's it going? Like trusting everybody. He's got to have that wall up first. And then if he feels it's safe, then it comes down.
But it would have been more interesting.
Comes down very quickly.
Yeah.
It would have been more interesting if this was a relationship that maybe had built a little longer, so that final scene, then when he does walk away, if it's like, him really kind of giving it up.
Well, there's only 2 hours and 50 minutes
Nick,
to tell the story.
The movie would have been 4
have...
hours then. What you could play? Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too, Nick.
Sean would have had to watch it in three sections instead.
I watched it in one.
Let's get to some of the plot holes. I want to give Nick some time to kind of throw some of these things at us that really kind of,
Nick has a piece of paper. I think he's looking.
I'm looking.
I know Sean has stuff written down too. Sean's got a legal pad.
No,
like Alan Shore from Boston Legal. All right. So what do you got?
Odd
Nick?
reference.
I know. I think I made my case throughout from beginning to end. There's been like a lot of plot holes.
I think on Instagram and Facebook, people should maybe chime in and see if you made your case.
Yes, they should.
I'll take it.
So what do you got?
Listen,
give me all you got.
No,
give me all you got.
This has been an influential movie. It inspired Grand Theft Auto, like you said, it inspired Nolan's Gotham and everything like that. But it just seemed like it was too many loopholes, too many characters. And I think Pacino's performance to me just really took me out of the movie from the beginning. And I just think that ending, like I said, I don't think a police officer would have, he really hunted him down and killed him. He didn't have to.
Yeah, but no. No, he did because he was being fired up. He was being fired upon, so he didn't know if he was going to be shot.
Single-handedly. He chased him single-handedly, just like a bunch of other cops.
It's either him or me.
Give me some backup. Why does it have to be one lone gunman after another?
Because that's cinematic.
Because that's the way the movie is.
There you go. That's the problem that I have with this whole movie. And everybody's like, "This is a classic." I'm like, when you look at it, it's like a well-made B movie. With a lot of plot holes and some over-the-top acting and some great scenes and some good performances, great casting. And I give Michael Mann credit for his intent in trying to do that and trying to blend these character moments. One of the honest moments I have is that guy, in the diner, Dennis,
Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah. First time I saw that movie, I liked his performance. Watching it again, that scene, man, when he walks out, and I'm like, because he's this like low bit criminal, right? He spent time in jail.
And he's not going to make it. He's trying.
Yeah, he's not going to make the money that De Niro's character makes and everything. Yeah. And he's trying his best to go clean, and they're treating him like crap at the at the diner and everything. And that's a decision where he has to make. Do I, give this up now and go for this? And he ends up dead.
Yeah, to me, that's what makes this film great, though. Yeah, I love all these small stories, these little stories.
It's a great tragedy.
Yeah, I love that.
Sean, let me get a great tragedy. Sean, let me have you jump in on this because you just freshly watched it and hadn't seen it in a while. Do you agree with Nick's assessment of this? Is that it's a long movie, but not on an epic scale? What do you think?
I will say, like I said in the beginning, I didn't remember a single scene. I did remember that De Niro and Pacino had a scene together, and I don't remember what that scene was about. Though that's about the only thing I remembered. So,
were you drugged before you saw the movie?
No, I'm telling you, like Nick said, it was a movie. There are probably things I liked about it. And
came and went.
I felt like I probably was underwhelmed. But like I said, when I watch it again, and because it's considered that, when you watch something because it's considered a classic or an epic or it's influential, you're like, all right, maybe I need to give this another look. And the fact that it was long and that I got through it at midnight to 3:00 in the morning, I think that says something about the film and the fact that it kept me engaged. Of course, I'm also watching it with the purposes of I got to talk about it, in another day or so. But it's not perfect. It's not the perfect film. It's not the worst film. Is it overrated? I mean, I don't feel the same way about it.
Nick is giving the thumbs up.
I'm not feeling the same way about it as the three of you, but I think I feel better about it than when I first watched it. I think, and will I watch it again? I would, because of the what's the word I'm looking for? I can't find the right word.
Hype?
Because of how respected this movie is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I'm not missing something.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe it's the Michael Mann thing, because I was hyped up on Michael Mann from Last of the Mohicans. So I was kind of like, oh, his next film, he, and then after that, and then like in 2005 or whatever it was, Collateral came out, which I felt was like a spiritual sequel to this. It felt like it took place in the same LA.
Same,
had the same feel to it.
He's in love with LA, so it's
there's no bones about that. But no, I appreciate the points of view. And Nick, it's been great having you. It was a good run of podcasts you were on, so this is a good swan song
Last
for
time
you.
you ever
I
last time you trust my judgment.
If you're gonna go out, you may as well go out like Pacino,
bang.
firing away.
I don't understand what kind of ending you want, Nick. This only ends one way, and it's almost like I think Eric said it is almost kind of like a Greek tragedy in some respects. It's this. It couldn't have ended with Vincent letting him live or shooting him in the leg, and like he makes it clear. If it's between when they're in the coffee shop, if it's between you making some poor bastard, wife a widow. Now, granted, it's him and there's no one else in that scene, but they both have their guns drawn, and they're both. One is going to kill the other. They've made that very clear. Like he's not going back to prison, and Pacino is not looking to get killed. So someone had to die, and it's almost, if you think about it on a spiritual level. Whoever did the killing, like he kills Macaulay, he's killing part of himself. There is something to that, and you can keep shaking your head, but no one can see it.
Nick,
And
I think
I'm ready.
I can see it
I'm
on YouTube. Sean, what do you got?
with Nick, would you have liked it better, like the end of Point Break, where Keanu Reeves lets Bodhi go instead of taking him in, he lets him go and do the last, the
Oddly
surf
enough,
those great waves.
Keanu Reeves was up for the Val Kilmer role originally.
He was.
Oddly enough. I think what Nick was looking for.
I can't rewrite it. I mean, as an audience member, I could just say how it affected me, and it didn't work for me. I mean,
here's the thing. There was an early draft where Pacino and De Niro drive off in a red 50s automobile, and it goes into the sky, and everyone sings "We Go Together," and then they kind of drive off into the clouds.
Not that kind of film. Though.
That was one of the original drafts, and I said, this is a little too derivative. We can't go there with that.
It had too much of a Thelma and Louise feel to it.
Well,
we need something.
David,
a little more,
like we're
realistic.
talking about Macaulay and Hannah, but everyone in this film is affected. They're broken. Everyone, nobody walks away.
Even Edie is broken at the end of this.
The only one that lives is Kilmer, though. I mean, Kilmer is the only one that actually lives.
Yeah, but his marriage is on. It's
over.
done.
It's done. There's no winner in this movie.
So exactly, if you're either dead, if somebody dies, or your relationship's broken.
I mean,
you have to,
Tone Loc didn't even get what he wanted. He wanted his competition rid of. Tone Loc's still suffering.
But you're going to do what I got to get done.
This what makes this a classic neo noir. There's no happy ending
there's
here.
Wreckage everywhere. There's wreckage
as those B movie neo noir type things.
It's not a Roger Corman movie, all right? So ease up.
Roger Corman is Z
okay,
grade, not B movies.
Let me ask you this: Were you underwhelmed by the look of the film, Nick?
No, I like the look because I think that's a very Michael Mann feel to it.
Because when I first saw it, full disclosure, I wasn't that impressed either.
But I think he overdoes.
To me, it felt like 2-3 steps up above a TV production to me.
Wow.
It didn't look like it. Consider the prestige movies that came out at this time, like the films that you mentioned, Dean. Pulp Fiction was a year earlier, and even though it's low budget, but the fractured storytelling, that was something new, something exciting. Goodfellas was, you had that the fancy camera work and all that kind of stuff going on. Here's a movie that is just pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it brings it back to basics.
You don't have a lot visually going on. It's just very, very, it's a character study, and it's just a long. It's paced. But that's the brilliance of it. Is the characters.
There are one or two parts of this film, and there's when they cut to Macaulay driving, and this head-on shot of the car has a very 80s feel to it. And it's very Miami
Vice.
It's Michael Mann. Like it has
it's Miami Vice. It's Manhunter. It's Thief, his first film
Yep.
with
But,
James
I mean,
Caan. I feel
you
like
know-
Macaulay is like an extension of the James
But that's
Caan
like
character.
Fincher has, you could tell a Fincher
Yeah.
movie. Like did certain
Right.
certain
That's
directors
why
have
it's
a
gotta
thing.
feel.
That's why
But-
the look didn't bother me as much as it did in like an Insider or some of his later movies. Where it's a little over stylish.
Can
where
I
he's trying to
can I
compensate.
start with a nitpick to give Nick a bone?
I'm
So-
thinking. See,
but-
you guys are throwing a lot of bones my way. I might be right.
No,
I might be right.
because it's it's not a perfect film. No
We're-
one's
we're
saying
doing
it's
your job.
perfect.
We're
It's
doing your job
overrated.
for you.
But
It's
it's not
overrated.
overrated. No one said it's overrated except for you.
I said.
There, when when he's running like towards the end, when he sees him and
Who sees who?
when
he
Hannah
sees
sees Macaulay and
Uh-huh.
and they make eye contact and it's that 30 seconds before they run into the field.
Uh-huh.
So Macaulay runs and Hannah runs. He runs past the ambulance and he gets to the cop and he's like, "Give me that shotgun," and the cop just hands it to him.
Yeah.
The cop has
Yeah.
never met him before.
who? Don't you know? How do you know? Don't you know who I am? I'm Vincent Hanna.
That's what
He
I'm
didn't
saying.
say that. Like
It's a
I'm like,
contrived
yeah,
ending.
maybe it's kind of like Wingrow. Like maybe is there applications like
Oh,
here?
did he have his badge out? But Pacino had his badge out. No,
I'm sure
Well,
Vincent
that's
Hanna
great.
is
I can get a
known-
badge too, Eric. You're gonna give me
I'm
a
sure-
shotgun.
What
I'm
I'm
sure-
saying is, you don't.
I'm just saying that
If a,
maybe
detective, if a plainclothes detective walks up to you and says, "Give me your gun," you're going to give him your gun.
I'm sure in
think that's
LAPD, Vincent Hanna is known. I'm sure everybody knows Vincent Hanna in LAPD. I am sure of it.
I was just trying to help Nick
Right.
a little
And I
bit.
think you did.
Let's
I
wind
think
this
you did.
down. Let's wind this down. I think Nick has made some valid points. He
No.
absolutely has made some valid points. And like I said, it's great. It's a great way to end his podcast run with us, and we'll find another person that likes the films that we like.
At the end of this, are we
No,
going to
so-
do in memoriam to Nick?
Yeah, we're going to make a montage of all the episodes he was on and all the times he was right. And then we'll go with it. But no, you know what? We're running late, so we'll skip the whole. Usually we do favorite scenes at the end. We'll just kind of wrap it up. Just the enduring legacy of Heat is so much so that Michael Mann just wrote a novel, Heat 2. He wrote a sequel or a prequel.
It's a
or
prequel. It's
and
actually a
sequel.
prequel, I
It's
think,
a
yeah.
little bit of both, I think. And the excitement was so much for the novel that now they're looking at making this into a film, Heat 2. Al Pacino has said the only person that should play Vincent Hanna as a young person is Timothy Chalamet.
I read that somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, if you know him, he's in Dune and he's a becoming actor.
Oh, wow.
He's like, he goes, it's got to be Timothy Chalamet that plays this character. So there's a little ringing endorsement there. So Heat is not, the movie's 27 years old.
I wonder though, will it be a film or will it be, you think, a series? You think something?
I think
like
it's trying to
Netflix
do it
will
as a
pick it up?
film.
Okay.
Okay. I would rather see it as a film. I think he should just do
Yeah.
do it. He hasn't made, believe it or not, he hasn't made a ton of films, Michael Mann.
But that's, you don't see a movie like this anymore though.
Yeah.
Like a 3-hour crime drama. It's like,
Yeah.
unless there's a superhero in it.
Yeah, Netflix will probably pick it. I'm sure Netflix will pick this up and say, okay, we'll make it. So yeah, the nature, like you're saying, the nature of film and distribution is different nowadays. So, and maybe that's what harkens this movie back to is, this was when those movies were in the theater and they were epic in maybe not in scale, but in scope. They were really
I didn't see
epic
it in the theater.
films,
I only saw it on. No, the
wow.
first time I saw it was on VHS.
I
I
think-
rented it.
double VHS.
I
That's
think I
probably
went
why
Christmas
I wasn't,
Christmas Day after, like in the evening. I think I saw this.
Double VHS from Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that's right.
1995 on sale.
That's right.
So yeah, you know what? Like it or don't like it, or I think Heat is I think it's one for the ages. I think I always say it, and we've talked about what we thought was another golden age of film in the 90s. And this is one of those high watermarks. You see the graduating class it was with, Seven, Usual Suspects. So you had this type of movie making that was going on that you don't see anymore. And that's why the 90s were really a special time of that. The second class or third class of directors coming into their own, like, Bryan Singer hasn't aged well, but David Fincher, Michael Mann, all these auteurs really started kind of coming up in the wake of the Spielbergs, the De Palmas, and the Lucases and the Coppolas. The second wave kind of came through, and you saw them really be prolific. Terry Gilliam, 12 Monkeys as well. You saw them be really prolific in the 90s, and I think Heat is a fine addition to that canon of films. So, and I think we all agree that it's one of the final best films for both of these gentlemen Regardless of the over-the-top acting, he would only go further with The Recruit and some other stuff like that.
He pulled it back a little bit for Insomnia, but then he went off.
Yeah, he was really great in Insomnia. We should do.
He was really good in Sea of Love. I think that's an underrated.
Yeah, but that was before.
Was it?
Yeah,
that was before.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like the 80s.
Yeah,
or early 90s. Yeah, it was late 80s.
Yeah, I really
and then
like
didn't
that
they
film.
get married like years later? Him and Ellen Barkin.
Oh, Pacino and De Niro.
Yeah, Pacino and De Niro got married. No, wasn't Ellen Barkin in Sea of Love?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, then they get married at some point. Those two.
No, he married Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, Beverly D'Angelo. That's who he married. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
twins.
Pacino was the best part of House of Gucci, which was a bad movie. But his acting.
It was a bad movie.
But his act, he was probably. I thought his performance was pretty good in that.
Well, they were both great in The Irishman.
Sean was just totally straight faced. That was a bad movie.
Pacino was. I thought he was fantastic in The
Sean, should
Irishman.
I even try to watch it or no?
No.
House of Gucci.
House of Gucci.
Irishman, I thought was good.
Yeah.
Irishman.
And that's another long.
That's
a long one too.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
long.
so Nick hates it.
You got
so Nick,
I like long movies. I just don't like bad long movies.
I've never seen The Irishman. So.
Can we cut Nick's mic?
Add that to the Godfather. We'll add that to the Godfather film.
Yeah.
Dean, you've got some homework to do, man.
Top 5 films I've never seen.
Godfather 1, 2, and 3.
The next time we see each other in
list.
person, Dean, if I come to your place, you come to mine, we're watching The Godfather. There's no.
We'll watch the IT Crowd again.
After rewatching it, I always like Godfather 2 better, but after watching The Offer, I actually have a lot more appreciation for Godfather 1.
For the first one. Right. Check out The Offer.
I love
That's
them
on
both.
Peacock or Epic.
Yeah, they're good. I have my problems with Godfather 3, but
well, a lot of people do.
Did you see Coda?
They're just different.
Edit.
I saw the new edit.
I watched
the new edit, actually.
I watched the new edit.
That was a beautiful
I bought the whole set. There's both versions are on the
of what, The Godfather?
Yeah,
But
Godfather 3.
It still has first cousins getting together.
Still has.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, reasons for me not to watch it. All right, let's wrap it up. So that's going to do it for this episode of the 3324 podcast. Thanks for taking us with you on this podcast journey. We appreciate it. You can find us on social media, 3324 podcast on Instagram and Facebook as well. Don't forget, check out Sean Grady. We're going to put a link for historical drama. That's some reenactment work that he does, historical from the 1700s. Nick, yeah.
I knew you were going to go there.
Go see. Nick does some stuff. Find it. If you can find it, go find it.
Wow.
No, we're going to drop a link for Bartow Pell Museum. Nick is doing some great work for them. He's got a show that's closing its run, but there's still other great works of theater entertainment you could see there as well. So we'll drop that in the show notes as well. Plus, he also does his Block City Kick, which we've put in the show notes. So we're gonna give Nick a double dose. We're gonna give him 2 links.
Thank you.
There you go.
Just to show that there's no hard. Just to show that there's no hard feelings.
Nick,
Nick is a valued member of the team. Nick is not going anywhere.
He's auditioning for Heat 2.
I would take it.
He's gonna be on the continuity. He's gonna be continuity for Heat 2. So thank you, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us. He was a last minute addition, but I wanted to get him in here because he hadn't seen it. As always, thank you so much, Nick. Dressed for the occasion. Thanks for getting dressed up to roast this.
My last
you didn't dress
here,
for barbecue because you roasted the movie.
But if I could just say one last word, it's just
come on.
Thank you. And I watched it again, reinforced some of my things, but I did see better things that I didn't notice the first time. So it's not a bad.
You neglected to mention any of that in the past hour and 20 minutes. You neglected to mention any of that, Nick.
I said some nice things, but it's still overrated.
Thank you so much. As always, Nick is not going anywhere. Fear not. He's going to be returning soon. Christy Cuomo, as always, thank you as well for helping us on the defense. We remember the defense and Eric in the other chair for the defense as well.
Yep.
As always. So thank you everybody for checking us out. We will see you real soon. And until next time, please be kind and rewind.
You've been listening to the 3324 podcast with Dean Legiro and Eric Kuber. You can find us on your favorite podcast provider, so please like, subscribe, and rate to become a part of the 3324 family. Your feedback is important, so make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at 3324 podcast and on Twitter at 3324p to join the conversation.